Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change with Gigi. Today is a special show, and I'm here to. One of my missions here on this earth is to make people more happy. And my special guest today, I met her when I joined the Napoleon Hill Institute, and she just sparked happiness from across the room. So I wanted to bring her on the show because it's the information that she shares is what everyone needs to hear. Because happiness truly makes us healthy, helps us to find our purpose and our passion, and helps us to be kinder to each other and love each other. And that's what makes this world a better place. So please welcome my guest, Sabrine Mann, to the show. Hello, my friend.
Hello, hello. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm in love with you. I'm in love
Aw,
with you because you and I have the same, oh, thank you. We have the same message that we want to share with the world
right.
is that, happiness is what drives our success. If we're not happy, everything is is a mess,
Right.
right?
I,
From
I
the
agree. I
from the
agree.
inside out. So just tell us a little bit about you and then we'll get right into the questions because I have plenty of questions to ask you for our audience to just learn from you today.
All right. So a little bit about me. I'm an import. I got imported from Germany. I met my husband over there many moons ago. I think this Christmas is 35 years. I could be wrong because lately I've been getting my years wrong and everything, but it's just a number anyway. So, but we've been together for a long time and we met. He was stationed over there in Germany with the army and we fell in love and ta-da, here we are. And my upbringing was not great. I had a lot of overcoming to do, and I did that little by little with the help of my husband and my children, and so many mentors that I discovered and found along the way. And yeah, and here I am. And life is good. It's getting gooder. And yes, gooder is a word.
Well, let's just jump right into it because it's happiness is what drives us to do things, right? When we're
Right.
happy, we are motivated, we seek opportunities. Just the world opens up to us when we're happy. And
Right. Because
so, go
go ahead.
ahead.
So, but my thing is like my thing is always is like it's a vibration. Happiness is a vibration, just like everything else. And the happier you are, the higher you vibrate, and the higher you vibrate, the better you attract. So, yeah.
Beautiful. So here's your first question. What role does understanding oneself play in achieving happiness? Because I know, before I've learned and done my own personal development, I seeked outside things to bring me happiness.
Right.
And now I totally get it. It's like, no, yeah, those are temporary happiness,
Right.
right? Those are not true happiness, long lasting happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll let you jump into this and answer this question.
Right. Well, the thing is, I mean, we are conditioned from a very young age, and it's like you look at the media from everything, it it's bombarded with the more you have, the happier you will be. If you have that special someone in your life, you will be happier. All of those things. But are you really? All of you guys that have achieved and have all of that, are you really truly happy? Right? So what I discovered along the way is happiness is an inside job. It comes from within. At one point, I made the decision. It's like, you know what? What I have been doing so far wasn't working. But I had to look within, and it's like understanding that part of me. It's like, oh, wait a minute. How come they are having whatever and they're happy and I no, So at one point I had to make that switch. But it's an inside job.
Yeah, it's really understanding what internally makes you happy, not
Correct.
externally, right? And then when you get into that level of work, to better know like what ticks for you, what are
Right.
your desires from an internal point, because external desires are just, they fade away, they come and they go.
Well, plus
And
the external changes all the time.
exactly.
It changes all the time. It's like with us being a military family, it's like, okay, oh yay, I'm happy here. I made friends and now we're moving, for instance. I mean, and anything outside really is temporary and it doesn't last. And a lot of times you can't take it with you anyway.
Absolutely. All right, so we'll go into the next question.
Okay.
And it's, how can individuals develop a deeper understanding of their own happiness to enhance their overall sense of fulfillment?
Well, like I said, for me, so real quick, little extra background. So the beginning of 2004, so January of 2004, I was ready to end my life. I was miserable. Physically, mentally, physically. I was done. And I really wanted to check out. I didn't think I could move forward. And if it weren't for my husband and my children, I would not be here. Their love is what really got me going. And it's like, because of them, I knew I couldn't give up. Plus, I'm not a quitter anyway. So even though I was done, I knew somehow I just couldn't. So I had to make a decision. So when I made the decision to not end my life, but I also knew at the same time I couldn't move on the way it was. So I had to make a choice. And it boils down to a choice. I made the choice to figure out how I can find my happy and really take control of my life instead of let life control me and how I'm feeling. So I started switching that around. And this was really the starting point, but it starts with a choice. Only you can make the decision. Only you can make that choice. And you don't have to wait for the circumstances to be right. You don't have to wait for this, that, and the other. You make the decision and you make it right now.
Exactly.
Right now. And that is really the starting point. You make that decision. Is like, you know what? The way things are going in my life, it's not really working for me. I'm miserable. I don't like it. Maybe it's time for change, and change is good. So make a decision, make a choice.
And it's so true, because you were in a position where you wanted to end your life. I was in a position where I thought my life was coming to an end. So in both incidents, the requirement that was needed here in order for us to both see the light, because we were both in a dark place.
And boy, was it dark.
Okay.
Boy, was it dark.
I agree. Is to really understand that, okay, something needs to change.
Right.
And the darkness is inside, right? It's how do we open the door to receive the light? And it's making that conscious effort to say, we have to change ourselves first.
Right. And it's a process. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
There are setbacks. I'm not going to lie. I mean, there were times where I was like, really? What the heck? Right. But it's like, overall, it's like, no, I know I'm doing the right thing. This is temporary.
Absolutely.
You have to make the decision, and only you can make that decision. Nobody can make it for you. You don't have to go do it alone. That's the beauty part of this. On this journey, you don't have to do it alone. I couldn't do it alone. Right? Giovanna can't do it alone. None of us can do it alone. Right? So we employ the help of people around us that help us like stay on track. An accountability partner, for instance. It's like, hey, what are your wins for today? And sometimes just focusing on that helps. But again, the choice is yours. And the thing is that there was this thing on online the other day, and I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's like, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. And there's many times where both of us, right, Giovanna, we're crawling.
Oh, absolutely.
We're crawling until we can pull ourselves up again to walk. And sometimes we run. But you go at whatever speed works for you.
Absolutely. And there is always someone holding out their hand, right, to take
Right.
you to where you need to be. And that like kind of goes into the next questions. How can individuals maintain resilience and continue their journey when they're faced with challenges?
That's a good one. Oh, I have chills.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
because it's true. I mean, we all face it. I mean, even us these days, with all the tools and the knowledge that we have, we still hit that wall. We
Yeah.
still hit it. It's like, oh, what do we do? But see, because we have those tools, we also understand it's like, hey, we can reach out to somebody. Whether it's your spouse. Sometimes it was my children. My husband was deployed down, fighting the desert thing there. I had my children. But you always find something. And then journaling. Journaling was huge for me. It still is, because a lot of times it's like when you journal, you get it out of you. And that's really what you want. Whatever negative stuff you have, the negative energies, somehow you want to get them out. And
Absolutely.
journaling is a really, really good way to do that. And you can just really vomit it all on paper.
And
If it's really bad. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, we get stuck when we're in that those challenges in front of us. Like we just continue to give those negative emotions, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think that, to your point, I love, yes, start to journal, which brings us into the next. It's changing that mindset, right?
Right.
So
it's a pattern interrupt. You want that switch because it's so easy to stay in the downward spiral. How do I know that? Because I was there for so long.
That's right.
And you don't get out of it unless you do something drastic and change something. It doesn't have to be anything huge, right? It can be a small step.
Absolutely. It's just
you
not
have to
doing
do something
the
to
same
interrupt
patterns.
that pattern.
I was gonna say, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the patterns come from where? What we
Our
actually build
conditioning.
them. That's right. Our conditioning. Exactly. So here, how can individual, I mean, you must have had some kind of intuitive thing going there. How can individuals cultivate a positive mindset and harness the power of gratitude to increase their happiness levels? Because this is what I live every day, is having the gratitude of what we have around us, because we have so much, but our mind takes us down that path where we feel like we have nothing.
Right.
And right. So that positive mindset is like it's a mental muscle that we need to grow stronger. Like we grow, I mean, I don't lift any weights, but it's like you lift weights, then you have to do that with your mental mind. So yeah, touch on that, please.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. The gratitude is a really great start, especially when you're in a deep hole, right? That's how I started, and I actually credit Oprah Winfrey for that, I must say. And I love her. I mean, I think I partially owe her my my life. Yeah, English is my second language, so bear with me. But anyway, because when we were stationed in Germany, we had AFN, the American Forces Network. We had one channel back then, right? But Oprah was on every day. And while my husband was at work and I was at home in my misery, in my depression and everything, I watched Oprah. And one time she talked about a gratitude journal. And somehow that stuck with me. And years later, when I decided to step out of the darkness and step into my light, right? I remembered, it's like, wait a minute, that Oprah show with the journal, with the gratitude. And so I sat down. That was one of my practices, and it takes discipline because it's easy to say, nah, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow. Don't do that. Okay, you owe it to yourself. So every night before I went to bed, in the beginning, I wrote down 10 things I was grateful for. The first 5 were easy. The other 5 I had to dig for, and that's what you want. If 10 are easy, do 15. If 15 are easy, do 20. You want to make sure that the last 3 to 5 are really hard for you. And because it forces you to dig deep and find something positive that happened during that day. Right?
Absolutely.
And because what that does is it changes your neural pathways because now you're looking for the positive. And what I tell my clients is, think about it when you're on a food diet, right? It's like, oh man, I can't eat this, I'm on a diet. You pay attention to what you put in your mouth. Well, once you do that gratitude journal, because you know you have to do it in the evening before you go to bed, you pay more attention to the positive things in your life. I love it so much. It is
I
a
do that
game
too.
changer. And then what you do is, before you go to sleep, you read out loud the things that you wrote down that you were grateful for. And it's important that you read them out loud, because when you read them out loud and you hear it, it hits you differently in a good way.
Absolutely.
It just hits you differently. That's all I cannot explain you how it hits you differently. It just hits differently, right? And then you go to sleep, because now you go to sleep in a positive, high vibration, right? And then your subconscious is like, oh, we like this. This is good. I like it, And then when you wake up in the morning, before you do anything, you pull out the list and you read it out loud again. And then you repeat every day. And pay it notice. It's like, have a journal. Notice how you feel, how it changes you. And at first I was like, whatever, I just did it because, well, Oprah said it's a really good thing to do. And Oprah was, Oprah is my go-to girl. And at that time, it was like, she was my lighthouse, she was the light in my darkness to help me and give me a tool that I can use. And then from there, I built more.
Well, I have to tell you, you didn't say that to me when we first met, but she's also my beacon of light, because if you check out some of her videos on YouTube, let me tell you that she's all about, letting people understand that the happiness comes from us first, right? All about how to give, how to give to people, so that because that's what makes us happy internally, is the giving, right? Not the taking, right? So
that was one thing for me when I was miserable. The thing I always did, it didn't matter how dark it was inside of me, how miserable I was, when I saw somebody else suffering, I found a way to make them smile. I found a way to make them feel better, which helped me a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I always say, however we're making someone feel, especially, let's just focus on the happiness. You have to get it back. It's like, Christmas time, you're giving presents and you're watching your kids smile and be happy and opening up. Like, just the joy of watching someone be happy makes us happy in return.
Unless you give them a sack of colds, which we did one time, but that's
I love that. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about how, changing the environment, because the environment plays a big part when we feel like, we're in that dark space. So how does the environment contribute to just bringing more happiness to us? Okay. And we'll be back right after this word from our sponsor.
Awesome.
Well, that was quick.
That was really quick. I was like, I was about to try to have a drink. I was like, oh, no, I guess okay.
So here we go. So we think about the environment that we're in sometimes, that I truly believe being around positive people, heart-minded people, not just so what I'm like-minded people, but heart-minded people who really share, the passion of helping others, right? Support us in our growth to really understand ourselves and how to make ourselves happy. Because that's what we need to do first, is the inner work of going from in and then bringing it out to people. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So when I started my journey into my light, the friends I had, and I love them dearly, right? And we were all moms with little kids. The husbands were deployed, and I was the biggest girl in the group, right? So in 2000, real quick, in 2004, when I decided not to end my life and take charge of my life, one of the two things I did that were really big for me. That spring, I enrolled into college, in American college, mind you, born and raised in Germany. English is my second language. Yay! And I'm going to date myself right now. I graduated. I know, I'm like, oh man, do I really want to go there? But yes, it doesn't matter. It's just a number. So I graduated from German high school in '88. And here we are, 2004. You do the math. It's been a minute since I went to school, right? But my thing was, it's like, I'm going to get me a college degree because I have dreams. I want to do something, but I need this for me. And I was really scared to go back to school. I really was, because I was like, oh my God, this is, And my husband, who is awesome, and I love him with all my heart forever and ever, he actually enrolled into the same class with me, so I don't have to go alone. And we were still stationed in Germany, right?
That was good.
I know.
That's so good.
So I did that. And then later that year, I had gastric bypass surgery. The day of surgery, I weighed 370 pounds. Yes, 370, right? I was miserable. But I knew I had to do this to help me become who I'm supposed to be, right? So now all of a sudden, it's like I lost the weight. Guess what? I lost my friends. But it wasn't really, I didn't think it had anything to do with me losing the weight. It had to do what it did for me mentally.
Yeah.
Because I made the decision to take charge of me. I decided I'm not going to feel sorry for myself anymore. I decided I am making changes for me that work for me. I put myself first. My needs, my happiness was number one. And that's what I did. I enrolled in school. Now all of a sudden they're like, what, now you think you're smarter than us? Okay, that's your story, you tell it your way.
Right.
And then I lost the weight. And after gastric bypass, you lose the weight quick, right? So now, they didn't know what to do with it. Because now all of a sudden, the biggest girl in the group, their safety net, was no longer part. But that was their stuff they had to deal with. So I lost friends. And here's the thing. Because of the conditioning, and I'm sure you can relate to that, because of the conditioning, I was like, what's wrong with me?
Oh, absolutely.
Why can't they like me anymore? What did I do wrong? Right?
Right.
I was like, what is going on? And then I was like, well, whatever. I moved on. Yes, it hurt, but I was like, I don't want to go back there just to appease them. It's like, I need to work on me. So I moved on and I met new friends. But I kept evolving and growing.
So those friends really weren't authentic friends. They weren't real friends, right?
Right.
They were just friends because they were trying to satisfy their needs.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they were your true friends,
Correct.
when you went through this, in fact, they should have been cheering you on.
Right.
And be happy for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but see, I was the comfort.
Yeah.
The security blankie, so to speak.
Correct.
Because now I changed. I made them take a look in the mirror, and I guess they didn't like what they saw, but instead of doing something about it, they blamed me.
Of course.
But it's okay. And people will do that. Understand that people will do that. You will lose as you grow as a person, mm-hmm. and you find your happiness and step into your happiness and your purpose and everything. You will lose people along the way.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with you. Understand that.
Absolutely.
It took me a long time to get that because, I lost those friends. I made new ones. I lost them. I made new ones. And it was just like, I don't understand. Well, now I do, but I didn't know then what I know now. Right?
Absolutely.
So, and I'm telling you right now, you will lose friends. Will it hurt? Absolutely. Will you get over it? Absolutely. Because you have the choice. You can go back and stay with your friends, or you can say, you know what? I am going here. And
it's funny. I also think that some friends, well, we'll call them friends, but they feed off your misery, right? So if you're unhappy, right.
And if you're more miserable than them, you are their best friend, because then they don't have to deal with their own stuff.
Absolutely.
Think about that.
Absolutely.
You know?
So let's go into the next question, because I know there is a lot of, misunderstanding, misconception of about happiness in general, right? And like, we're not talking about, running the streets and saying, I'm happy, singing a happy song, right? But we, we just want to kind of like bring it to, yes, we're all going to have challenges, and but the challenge is, it's how you view it, right? Because the universal laws are here, whether we want to acknowledge or not acknowledge, they're here to stay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And they work for all of us.
that's right. They don't exclude anyone. So I call it the law of polarity, which is really understanding from, with every positive there's a negative,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how can we focus more on the positive? I know you mentioned the gratitude journal, but what other things can we do to really step within us, not looking at the outside, but looking at within us, to say, to give us that confidence that we can become happy first with us, that we can do it. Like, there's work that needs to be done internally, right?
Right.
So can you kind of touch on that?
Sure. So when I started my journey into stepping into my light, for me, a lot of times it's like, yeah, I'm happy, and I just told myself I'm happy. Did I feel happy? No. Right? I kept telling myself I'm happy, and then and I wrote about it in my book. Actually, the very first chapter, when you start my book, it's like, what is happiness? And for the longest time, I thought I was happy because I was content. I was okay with whatever happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a difference between being content and being happy, right? But when you're content, you're okay with whatever's happening. When you're happy, it's just a whole different vibration. It's just like, oh, well, wait a minute. And all of a sudden, when I realized I was happy, I was no longer content with what I was content before, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because it's like, I have changed, and it's like, this is not serving me. This is not adding to my happiness. This is, I don't know what it does, but it's definitely not adding to my happiness. So I'm like, okay, what can I change, to change that part, or eliminate it, right? So and that's really the big thing. It's like, find out what brings you joy. And I'm not talking people, money, circumstances, any of that. That's not what I'm talking about. What gives you joy? What drives you? For me, it's really is helping people find their joy and make them smile. If I can make one person smile every day, it was a great day.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
It doesn't matter the other circumstances, the health issues, the pain issues, the whatever issues, and who cares? Who cares? That they're not important, right?
So the misconception is that people will view contentment as happiness. And to me, contentment is staying in your comfort zone.
Oh, most dangerous place to be. Ooh.
Oh, right. And not growing. And
right.
that leads us into the next question. That's funny you say that.
So there are no coincidences, right?
Absolutely. So how does continuous learning and education contribute to personal growth and happiness? Because to me, I know personal growth, for me, it's all new. It's been, a few years that I've, tapped into this very deep to study me, right? I've never heard, and I went to school for 23 years. I promise you, I never heard personal growth, right? And then all of a sudden, it comes about because we're curious, because we want to learn, we want to change. And we start Googling, how do you change? How do you change your beliefs? How do you change your habits? And what book is the top, number one bestseller to change your habits? And And you go through this journey of it's a discovery. I remember as a teacher, we used to take inventory. The children come in September and we need to take an inventory of their skills, right? And now I relate that to what I had to go through. And I literally had to take an inventory of what was going inside here. What was happening in here? What did I think about myself? How did I feel about myself? How can I contribute to this world? Like, what's my purpose here? Is it just to go to work and come home, cook, go to sleep, and do the whole thing all over again every day for 365 days for as long as God wants to keep me on this earth? Like, there's something out there that I'm missing. What's the piece of the puzzle? And this is where you connect and you start learning about the personal growth and how to achieve happiness. Because once you know the potential that you have within you, it's like 4th of July for sure.
Oh my God. It's like, seriously, it's like the whole world has fireworks in your head once you make that connection.
And they're still going.
And they're still going. And they keep on going. It's like, ooh, new ones. It's like, ooh, more.
Let's just talk about that, because for me, I'm still so, I'm so happy just to know that, I'm able to really control what comes into my heart is the best way I can say it. Because when you have that ability to, if somebody's not making you happy, or something's not making you happy, or a situation's not making you happy, you truly have everything you need to walk away from that, right? But you have to learn how to do it so that it also gives you a peace of mind, right? You're not doing it with being malicious or with anger. You're doing it with
anger. Never come from anger.
Never come from anger. So go ahead. I think I said enough about that.
So the first thing you said, and my take is, nothing and nobody can make you happy or unhappy. They can add to your happiness or take away from your happiness, but they cannot make you. Only you can make yourself happy or unhappy, right? That's the biggest thing. But what I found is this, like, one, beginning in 2004, when I started. So Oprah was my first mentor, right? And from there, I was introduced to others in the personal development world. It's like Jim Rohn, Earl Nightingale, Napoleon Hill, Bob Proctor. I mean, you name them, and I was like, oh, maybe there's more. And I became hungry for more of the knowledge.
Yes.
I really wanted to know more. It's like, well, wait a minute, maybe they're onto something. And I mean, I kid you not, guys, I was so clueless in the beginning. I had no idea. I mean, I did certain things because it just felt right to me. But I had no idea about the laws of the universe and any of this stuff. I mean, I was really clueless, but little by little, I learned more and more and more, and I read more and more books, and I invested more and more into classes and webinars and, whatever I could find. Because just like most people, I want to be happy. I want to be happy, just like everybody else. It's like, what do I need to do to find happy? But that's where that personal development comes in. It can help you because it can open doors for you and give you that aha. Some things that you've heard 5 million times before. And I always use the example with children. If any of you guys who have children, how often have you told your child one thing over and over and over and over, and they just like, right? In one, out the other. And they don't even pay attention to you. And then somebody comes along, a neighbor, a relative, they say exactly the same thing. And now it's gospel to your children. Right?
It's like, no, we don't want to, eat broccoli. No, broccoli's no good. And then somebody comes on and goes, oh, You can eat
Right.
broccoli, right?
Right.
In a
But
different
that's the
way.
same with everything else, with the personal development. Certain things you may have heard somebody hear it in passing, or may have heard something on TV or YouTube or wherever, and it's just like it didn't resonate. But here's what's really awesome: your subconscious picked it up. It's like, ooh, we'll keep that in mind. So next time you hear it, it's like, oh, here it is again. And at some point, somebody says it in a way that
Yeah,
absolutely resonates with you, like nothing has resonated with you before. And it's like, oh my gosh, wow. The
it's
light goes
true.
on.
That was me. Oh,
That was me. That's all of us. Guys, come on. Let's be honest. This is all of us. It doesn't matter what it
yeah.
is. It's all of us. Right?
And I think, you know what it comes down to? It comes down to, are we ready to listen? Right?
It
It
is.
comes down, are
Mhm.
we ready to listen? Because when we are listening and we close the noise out, listening to everybody else, but listening to that special message, because I know we all get messages.
Mhm.
And if we're listening to those messages, they can lead you down the right path.
Yep.
Right? But if we are not listening because we're too busy
Mhm.
doing, making this one happy, that one happy, this one happy, doing this, right?
Right.
And not making ourselves happy, then we're missing those, I'll call them clues. These
Oh,
are
and they're all like 24/7. 24/7 do we get clues from the universe, God, whatever your higher power is.
right.
They're like, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me now? Do you hear me now? Do you hear me now?
I love it because it's like people go, oh, that did that just happen? Like, what was that about? That was like me and that person, and like you're like you just ignore it, right? And at
Right.
the end of the day, it's like, no, it's real. The message was for you to
Mhm.
take
So fun,
something from
fun
that.
fact real quick. Let me throw this in real quick. FYI, lessons to be grateful, because sometimes you're like, well, there's nothing to be grateful for. There's always
Always.
something to be grateful for. Sometimes it's just the lesson in what not to do. Okay, let me repeat this. Sometimes you be grateful for the lesson on what not to do. Okay, be grateful for
Exactly.
that. Because here's the thing, and this is one thing I learned not long ago, actually. So when we get a lesson, the universe, God, your higher power says, here's a lesson for you. Learn it. But it's a little lesson, and we're like, we don't have the time right now. It's like, yeah, we ignore it, right? Guess what? It doesn't go away. It just hides for a little bit and it finds its friends and it comes back. So here's your first lesson, right? And then I ignore that. And then it comes back and the universe said, look, it brought a friend. But it's still not heavy enough. It's still not important enough. So yeah, whatever. And then the universe says, hold on, look, here it is again. It brought more friends. So it gets a little heavier every time it comes around until it gets so heavy, well, you don't have a choice. And a lot of times it breaks people. And the reason it does that is because you ignored the lessons. So that's why I'm saying be grateful for the lesson. And when stuff happens, and it happens to Giovanna and it happens to me, it happens to all of us. But instead of going, it's like, oh man, why? What? All of this, I'm going like, ooh, what have I not yet learned? That this is coming, hitting me so hard right now. What is the lesson here? And sometimes by simply asking, literally asking, what is the lesson? And then
Absolutely.
you listen, and you will get the answer. I guarantee you will get the answer, but you have to listen.
Absolutely.
And then learn.
And learn.
Anyway,
And
little side tangent. But I thought
no,
it
it's
was
okay. No,
important.
it's all good because we're not taught to do that. We're taught to, oh, that just happened. Okay, I'll be okay. Just shove it under the rug. Let's,
So
dust ourselves off and let's keep going. And then next thing
acknowledge
you
it.
know, yeah. So we're gonna take another short break.
Okay.
And we'll be right back, and we're going to talk about how can we grow? How can we grow? So this commercial will also help us to see what's out there for us.
Now, the vast majority Approximately 95% of the people of all countries go around and around without aim or purpose. They drift with the circumstances of life, good or bad.
A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind.
Whereas the successful individuals create their own circumstances and ride them to victory.
When you're on purpose, you're living on purpose. You will never quit if you have a real purpose.
A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. But what I have done has been recorded, it's been tested, it's being taken to a free world, and it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born.
And it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born. We're some of those people. That we're spreading this to the world. As your awareness grows, the doubt is gone, so that you can manifest whatever it is your heart desires. Isn't that beautiful?
You know, being part of that community, it just sparks the change to say, like, we need to do our part, each of us, to help other people be happy, you know, and because once you're in that dark space, people are just so deep into that space that there's only other people can help them to get them out of that space. And with that, would you share, Sabini, some stories of individuals who, you know, we know that you and I know for sure that happiness is our superpower, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
We went through the learning curve. We went through discovering who we are and how we can affect other people positively, and what what needs to be done in order to help others.
Mm-hmm.
So can you share some success stories you've had?
Oh, that I had? Whew, where do I begin?
Yourself or your clients? It's just how you made positive changes. I mean, yes, we know, what you went through, and we know, how.
Right. And I mean, it's really individual for others. I mean, happiness is different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And happiness to me is different what happiness means to you. For some people, happiness is to being with their children and their grandchildren, right? That brings them joy. That's their happy place. That's where they really shine. To me, it's like the being happy. Everybody who has that deep heart desire, that burning desire, that it's like, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to do this. No matter what happens, I am going to do this because I am called to do this. This brings me joy. This is like part of me every waking moment. See, for me, it's to bring happiness and hope to the world. That's what fuels my fire every single day. And especially on days where I was like, oh my God, I'm so not feeling it today.
Mm-hmm,
and we
mm-hmm.
have those days, but then it's like this little voice, my little Jiminy Cricket here is like, hey, what's up? Don't you need to spread some happy today? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And it's not about me.
I think so too. Is like when we're feeling unhappy, I think that, I mean, I know for me now, it's like, put music on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I tell my clients, put music on, do something, go out. And I mean, I know it's a temporary, but get yourself into that frequency of being happy. And then like you said, other things will come into your life.
Right.
But if you are sitting back and you're saying, okay, I'll just wait for the happiness to come. You could be waiting a long time. Right. I know, like you said, sharing is caring. This is how I see it. And if you can share your knowledge on how to help someone, whatever tip you can give them, whatever little thing you can do.
Where do I begin?
Right? Go ahead. I mean, absolutely. It's like you've done it.
Yeah. And here's the thing, guys. It really is stupid simple. It is stupid simple. Is it easy? Nope. It is not. but it is stupid simple. It's really, once you understand how simple it really is, it's like when it hit me, I was like, doink. Right?
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, once you really find that place, and sometimes, one of the things that I do, how much time do we have left? How much time do I have to share with you? What did I do?
We're okay. We got 15 more minutes.
It's all good.
10 more minutes. We're good.
That's cool. So one of the things that really helps me is I do a hard breathing exercise. And I can do this sometimes while I'm driving. Of course, you keep your eyes open, right? But I can do it enough now where it's an automatic thing for me. But in the beginning, all I did is I put my hand on my heart, either 2 fingers on my heart, put my hand on my heart, and I focus breathing, literally just deep breathing into that space right here. And while I did that, I remember I went back to a place when I was so happy, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I was laughing, I was dancing, that's what I'm recalling, and that's why I'm breathing into. And boom, vibration goes up. It is so awesome.
And not only that, you're using your imagination, right, to bring in past experiences that you've had, which is very powerful, because I say everything starts with a thought.
Yep.
Right? Because really what drives our happiness are the thoughts. Everything starts with
the thoughts
thought.
and our feelings. That's it. Boom. Done.
So you can shift, and have that shift. And I tell, I say that to my clients as well. It's like, what makes you happy? And it's funny, you talk about putting your hand on your heart, and I do the same thing. And it's just feeling the love that's in the heart, because it's always there. Those great experiences that we had in life,
right,
are in our subconscious, just like the bad experiences.
Absolutely.
So it's tapping into that beautiful energy of those experiences, whether it be when you got married, or would be when you went on a trip to Bermuda, or whatever it may be. Bring those experiences,
whatever that was, right,
to make you, to bring happiness back into yourself, not out there, but yourself. Right.
Yep.
And
another thing that's really good to do is read a good book.
Oh, I love your books. Can you please share? You have to share your books. I mean, this is what attracted me to you. So, just really quick, give us a runoff on those books real quick.
So this is the first one I wrote. It's called Happiness Matters: Unleash Your Superpower in 7 Easy Steps. And this was I always knew that I had to share my story, but not for my sake, but for others who might be going through something similar. And I was like, how do I best do this? And I came up with the 7 steps. So this is if you just want to find out about my story, there you go. But if you really want to work it and discover your happiness, this is also a workbook.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So this is what started it. And happiness matters.
I love it.
And
I love your nails. Look at your nails.
The rainbow color. I'm so excited. Because in my world, guys, rainbow is a color and unicorns are real. So this is where I live. And then I did this one. This is called 365 Days Plus One of Inspiration. And all I did is, so I have daily posts that I put on my Facebook and social media. And what I did is I simply took them and put them in a book.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, and then I have to share, of course, my dog wrote a book.
Oh my God. Tell me the story.
My dog wrote a book. So I have a TV show. It's on YouTube. It's called Happiness Matters. And I was interviewing people and they came to my house. And I started a second show with a friend of mine, and we interviewed people also at my house. And one of them had the gift to communicate with animals. And she looked at me and she said, Mo is really upset with you. And I was like, what did I do? She goes, I said, why is he upset? And she said, because you interview all these people, but never him. He wants to sit in this chair and wants to be interviewed. Okay. Let me get right to that, right? So I had somebody else come over. She's an animal communicator, and Mo graciously let her sit in the chair. So we interviewed. So there's a show on my YouTube channel, an interview with Mo, my dog. And a while after that, he decided it was time for me to write his book. Really? let me get right to this, right? And I'm like, I have nothing else to do. What do you mean you want me to write your book, right? So my animal communicator, she came back over and we sat down here on my desk recording. She really said what Mo told her and we recorded it and then we put it in a book and here it is. And it's called Mo the Service Dog because every dog has a purpose.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
But I have to share my passion project.
Go for it.
This is my heart and soul, guys. This is really it. So this is Happiness Matters. You are not alone. And we share stories. I want your story. I want your story because I want others to hear too that they are not alone. And here's the thing. It doesn't have to be a hardship story. It does not have to be because not everybody has a hardship story. But you know what I learned? That people who don't have a hardship, they feel guilty. And I tell them you don't have to. Share your story. Let others know it's okay. It's okay. So this is really to bring happiness and hope to the world. This is volume 1.
We share the same mission. I said that from day one, right?
This is my baby. I'm like,
good. Because it brings you happiness and joy, right?
It does. It does. But it's not. The thing is, it's not about me.
No, it's not.
It's not about me. I want your story. Yeah, I'm publishing it. But it's not about me. It's about you. Because once you write down your story, what it does for you, you'll be amazed. If you have not yet written down your story, write down your story. You don't have to send it in if you don't want to. But if you do, I would really appreciate it. But
where did they send it to?
They send it. You can contact me on mattersofperspective.com and the information is on there.
Okay.
And but what it did is, so when I was writing my first book, this one, right? Writing my story, getting it out of me. It was so therapeutic. It was so therapeutic. And now I get people that read my story. They read this book. They read this book. Even my authors that are in this book, see, and they get featured on the back there. It is so therapeutic. Reading somebody else's show is like, oh my gosh, I thought I was alone. I cannot tell you how many times I get that. And that's why this right here, volume 1, and many more volumes coming.
So
but I need your story. Please.
So let's go to the last question before we end the show. And
thank you for letting me talk about my books.
My pleasure. Are you kidding? The happy books. Those are happy books.
Right? Because happiness matters.
That's right. What steps can they take to begin unlocking their own superpower and become an agent of change in their lives? Because I know I'm here to spark change in the world. That's what it did to me when I unlocked my superpower of being happy, right? So, you become an agent of change because you're changing other people first, and then it emanates back to us. So,
yeah. See, I like to think it's like once we change, the people around us change, because the reflection without is a reflection from within.
Within, absolutely.
So whatever is going on internally with you, you see that amplified around you.
So
right. So if you don't like what you see around you, look inside. What's going on inside of you?
Absolutely.
And the best step to take is make a choice, make a decision. Make a decision. And once you make a decision, so real quick on a decision, a friend of mine who lived here in Colorado Springs, her dream was to be a gypsy. She wanted to sell her house and move into an RV. And I said, do it. And she was hemming and hawing. And mind you, she is my friend who started me on my spiritual journey. So, right? But she was hemming and hawing and she just wasn't sure. And I said, well, make a decision. You are the one that's telling me. It's like, once you make a decision, the universe, God, your higher power, they all conspire to make it happen. She goes, oh, you know what? The student has surpassed the teacher. Yes. So get this, guys. She made the decision to sell the house, right? She had a realtor come over the next day, put a sign in the yard, coming soon. It wasn't even listed. It said coming soon. 4 hours later, it was under contract. She had less than a month to move out. Yeah. Make a decision. once you make a decision on anything, whatever it is that you want, but once you make a decision, a clear, definite decision, just pay attention to all the things all of a sudden.
All the clues.
All
right?
the clues that are coming. And I used to call it coincidence. Oh my God, what a coincidence. What a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences anymore because I know I attracted this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
but it starts with the decision. Make a decision. Choose you. Choose your happiness. Figure out what it is for you. And if you don't know, here's the thing you can do. Write down everything that you don't want. It is so easy for us to write down the things we don't want. Write them down. Take a piece of paper. I don't have one right now, so let's just put them right in the middle. On the inside, on here, you write down all the things you don't want, right? On this side, and whichever side, doesn't really matter. But you write down the opposite. Write down the exact opposite of what it is that you do want. And then what you do is you rip it down in that middle, right? And you take the stuff that you don't want. And little line by line, you go down and you say, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for teaching me.
that's right.
I love you. I no longer need you. Do it with love.
I
right?
love that.
And you go
so
down
good.
that whole list. And then you burn it, you shred it, you rip it, however you need to release it. Let it go. And you hold on to all the stuff that you do want. And you read that several times a day. And you add to that list.
And with that, I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, you're welcome. I can talk this stuff all day. Can you tell? This is so good.
Listen, we can never stop being happy. We
No.
can never stop being happy. So
Happiness is so good.
I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks
I
for
really
having me. I really
you.
appreciate you.
And we are definitely, going to be working together because happiness is my thing. And I love,
It matters.
It matters. Happiness matters, and sparking change. And this is what we're here to do for sure.
Yep. And we're here to help you. You don't have to do it alone.
That's right.
You don't have to do it alone. We're here for you. All you have to do is reach out to us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for coming, and we'll see you on the next show. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change with Gigi.